Welcome to Voices from the Bench, a dental laboratory podcast. Send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com or look for us on Facebook at Voices from the Bench. Greetings and welcome to Voices from the Bench. We are at episode 90. My name is Elvis.
And my name is Barbara. Happy 90. Woo-hoo.
I know, can you believe it? In 10 episodes, we will be at triple digit.
We should do something special for our triple digits. That is way too cool. We made it.
Yeah, I wonder what we should do.
I don't know, but we're going on almost, what, a year and a half? Is it a year and a half or is it almost 2 years?
It'll be 2 years at 104.
Wow, that's cool.
It's crazy.
I saw that you sent out something that we have fans in Romania.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Yes, I can.
We are number one in the health and medicine on Apple Podcasts with Romania.
That is
Who would have
cool.
thunk?
I don't know, but I love it.
Maybe someday we'll be recording live from Romania.
I'm in.
Yeah, sure, why not? So, one of the great things about the podcast is that sometimes we get to talk to people that we already know, and sometimes we get to talk to new people. In this episode, we have a little bit of both. While Barb and I were at the LMT Lab Day East, we got to talk to two family-owned labs where it was started by a parent, and now their child has joined.
Which that a little bit about me. That's kind of my background, so you know how much I love the hereditary factor of our business.
Oh, yeah, you were all over these two.
Not physically, just saying.
No, not physically.
Make sure we let everybody know, not physically.
You were all over their story of parent to child.
Got it. Check.
So first up is a good friend of ours, Joseph Young, and his father, Michael Young. They own Young Dental Laboratory right there in Philadelphia.
And Joe Young took us to the most amazing restaurant where they sang a cappella opera as we ate. And we had the best night. It was amazing. Thank you, Joe. And Sean Nowak, we should say, too, for sure.
Yeah, and Greg Martin was there from Renford and
Yep.
a bunch of Nowak people. It was a great time. The Youngs really know how to do it up in Philadelphia.
No doubt.
So the Young family sits down to talk about how Michael started the lab in a spare room in the family home. He started in ortho and how he used that as a specialty to give them an edge. And then we talked to the mother and daughter team of K&B Orthodontics. Jane Hyatt started an ortho lab in her parents' basement, but when it came time to grow and to get into the digital workflow, her daughter, Kristen Benitez, was able to come in and bring the lab to the next level. So join us from the exhibit hall of Lab Day East. Is zirconia giving your lab a hard time on your full arch cases?
Yes, for me.
Have you experienced warping or breakage in your sintering oven?
Yes, for me again.
Have you ever had an arch return for adjustment and had to scrap it and start all over?
Yes. So, there's a better way.
Introducing Crystal Ultra Nano Ceramic by Digital Dental, the better alternative for full arch dentistry. A Crystal Ultra arch is 60% lighter than a zirconia arch, is easily adjusted chairside, and can be milled on a 1-to-1 basis with no centering required.
That saves you, 10 to 12 hours right there?
Not only is a Crystal Ultra arch better dentistry for patients, it's better for your lab as well. To learn more about the future of full arch dentistry, visit www.crystalultra.com/voices. Crystal Ultra, feel the difference. Voices from the Bench. The interview.
Lab Day East with the Young family from Young Dental Lab here locally in Philly.
So we've got Michael Young and Joseph Young on from Young Dental Laboratory. Good morning, gentlemen.
Joe Young, good friend of ours, sits on the NADL board with us.
Yep.
And
we haven't had any fun with him at all in any cities outside this one. Never.
Extremely boring.
Yes, yes, extremely boring.
Joe, you're a buzzkill.
I know.
And your father, Michael. So, Michael, you're the founder of Young Dental Lab.
Yes.
What year did you guys start your laboratory?
1980.
1980.
Good question. I know it's
so
more
long.
than 40 years.
Yes.
Wow. You know how I am about generational
I know.
family, because I'm a
It's a
daughter
unique
of an owner.
dynamic
So
for sure.
yeah, so I love it. So,
So,
thanks.
Joe, was it started in the building that you guys are in now?
No. We started, Dad started in the spare room of the house. And
That is not surprising.
No.
Was
Really?
it your bedroom and you had to sleep on the couch?
Sorry, we have somebody coming live. When we're live, we love it because we
Yeah.
have people coming up to see these two celebrities.
Oh, sure.
So sorry about that pause.
You mean you guys, not
No,
us.
you guys.
Yeah, no, it started in a spare room of the house. I grew up, Dad, after vocational school and working for a practice, he brought the lab business back home and started the operation in a spare room.
So you started in a dental office as a lab technician? Is that how it started? Or?
No. I started out at a vocational school taking at the Mass Bomb at the time. They had a vocational department using Mass Bomb School as a base teaching dental technology.
Oh.
And that was a 2-year program. I think it's called the Philadelphia Vocational Technical School. So you have various students came into the program. Majority of them are from after high school.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I took that program, and the teacher, Harold Reiser, was the instructor and the director for that program. And subsequently, he moved on and went into dental school and become a dentist.
Oh, okay.
But during the time of his teaching, he had a orthodontic laboratory in his home. So he needed help because he's working part-time here and then full-time at the school teaching. So he asked me, out of that, about 20 students, he asked me to see if I wanted to learn orthodontic.
Because you're such a stellar student.
Right.
Yeah.
So then I went into his lab, and he taught me all the tricks and, what have you in that little orthodontic area. So I learned that within 2 months, I took over his lab. And he doesn't even have to come in anymore because he can trust me, he can,
Wow.
So I've been working out at his lab after school, I should say, almost 5 days, and then sometimes the weekend. One time I remember vividly that he sold me his car. So it's an old Buick, and he lived in Township Line, whereas I would say now City Avenue back there. I can't remember the town is called Township Line Road or something. Anyway, one night I finished almost 12 midnight, and I was driving home. The heat went out on me.
Wow.
So there was no heat, and it was a really cold night, and so the humidity built up in the car.
Oh, yeah.
And frost on the windshield. I had to wipe it as I was driving.
The wipe and drive.
And those were experiences. It's life. You will remember it. You'll never.
Yeah.
It's a part of life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You build and are able to supply and bring up the family.
Yeah.
So I was proud of it.
Yeah. So when you had the lab in your house, were you the little kid like I was that used to go check out all your dad's stuff and bend wire and kind of into it at a really...
You play with the plaster and you fidget with the the pliers, and
you make little faces with the dowel pins on the plaster, and you leave it for your dad in the morning.
You used to make candles with the pink wax.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
Dip your fingers in it. I used to dip my fingers in it and make nails. Oh yeah, yeah.
That's right.
Is that what you did, Joe? You made nails?
No.
I made nails.
We have another visitor.
How are you?
We'll edit out the kiss.
Yeah. Mwah.
Joe sounds like you're in trouble.
So
man.
he says that we're not the celebrities. He's the celebrity, just like I said. So you guys started in ortho. So your laboratory that's where you started, and then how did you build from there?
So after he went out to dental school, he closed the lab. So, and then that's about the time I graduated. Mm-hmm. So then I started my own labs, trying to do a little here and there, and then went out to the city to solicitor. Mm-hmm. So I got a few accounts, and during that time, Joe was able to do some study models for me. That's how he got into the plaster work.
Yeah, I think that's where we all started.
Yeah, you trim models on a high stool.
Yep,
you know,
exactly.
So yeah, I grew up, just like you. You grew up in the environment. Mm-hmm. And every summer job and winter break and days off you spent at the lab.
Yep.
That's just the way it was.
You were just ortho at this point.
Just at the time, yes, just ortho. We were lucky. The house we bought has a little barber shop in the back, and the barber went out of business. So I took that little barber shop and converted it into a laboratory. So it was strictly orthodontic at the time. Then we continued doing ortho, and then a cousin of mine came and joined us. He is a removable technician.
Sure.
So we then started the removable department, and then we moved out and rented a bigger place for the lab, and that continued at I would say about 5 years. And then the house next door up for sale is a dentist.
Yeah.
House up for sale. And so he asked me if you want, so I bought that. I took that opportunity and I bought that. And so we moved into that lab. We ran that lab for a few years, and then finally Joe was able to finish his college and joined us.
And what year was that, Joe? So what year did you come aboard?
99.
Where'd you go to college for?
I went to school originally it was because of the interest in the lab was to maybe pursue dental school, but after 2 years of trying to study biology and chemistry, that kind of ruled that out.
Not your thing?
Wasn't my thing, and ended up in, it took a while to actually realize when you grow up in a family business and you grow up with an entrepreneur, it takes a while. You don't really realize that your parents were business owners.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it took me that long to say, wow, I mean, Dad and Mom actually run their own business. So maybe I pursue something in that avenue and took on business administration. And it turned out I was really good at, I had a really interest in marketing and entrepreneurial studies, and that took off for the rest of my bachelor's. So really studied business administration, really studied marketing, and really had an interest in the grassroots of being an entrepreneur. And that's what I studied.
Yeah.
I did really well with it.
Yeah, and a little story for you. Joe and Elvis and I went out to dinner last night, and Joe says, I'm going to leave the lab early. I'm going to leave at 7:15 on a Friday. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, there's a lab owner for you on a Friday, leaving early at 7:15. So kudos to you for your work ethic, and thank you for going out to dinner. It was amazing.
I got to stop by your lab yesterday because Joe was nice enough to allow us to ship some stuff here in town, and I was very grateful. But I was impressed with your lab. It's a 2-story lab, which was interesting, but the amount of mill and CAD you have going on was impressive.
Oh, thanks.
Was very impressive. You walk in and it looks like an analog lab.
Wow.
Because you got the Bunsen burners and everyone working away at their bench, but then you go downstairs and he's got mills I've never even heard of.
Cool. Are you guys still doing ortho?
Yes, we do.
Really?
Elvis walked in on the first floor where it's you walk into the ortho department. So that there's Bunsen burners, there's spot welders, there's hand tools, and
hands everywhere. Hands. everywhere.
Well, that's
and then
a
you
good
make the
thing.
corner, and there's dentures. So everything's still a lot of analog. But when we expanded and got into digital, we put all that stuff on the lower level, and that's where we keep the digital stuff.
It's a very cool lab.
No, thank you.
I like it.
Thanks.
Are you still involved in the laboratory? Are you on the bench, or are you? What do you
mainly
like to
consulting.
do? Okay.
Case planning.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yeah. When Joe joined us, I got a little more spare time, so I went to NYU, took up the Master Dental Technologist.
I know all about
course.
that. Wow.
So it was without Joe's joining us, I would never be able to do that.
Wow.
That's for sure. So I took that time, and it was a 1-year program.
Yeah.
I finished it. It allowed me to have the right terminology to communicate with our client. Mm-hmm. And so I'm able to case plan now, because with our background besides ortho, removable fixed implant, we're able to case plan from ground up, with a fully partially edentulous or fully edentulous case. From there, you case plan for implant, proper placement of our implant, and to finish product. So that was a really helpful step for us.
And it's an extremely important step, because without correct case planning, and some of these larger cases that we're doing now, I mean, it's extremely important. So,
with Dad's background in ortho, it really gives us a unique position in the marketplace, being a true full service and being able to offer a multidisciplinary approach to case planning. So he can incorporate the ortho first, move some teeth before we plan for an implant. Sometimes you can't place a diagnostic tooth in that space provided, but if you could, if you can distalize something first with a basic appliance, that'll give you the room.
Most labs, when they say full service, they're not.
I know. I was just going to say, I don't think I've ever talked to or met a laboratory that's incorporated the ortho component. It's either specialized, which we've talked to a couple ortho laboratories, or they don't do it at all. Like Knight, we are full service, but we've never ever touched ortho.
We don't dabble in it.
Yeah.
So that's
I
pretty
send it
excellent.
somewhere else.
Yep.
Yeah, you can actually incorporate, for example, like a spring or a screw into a flipper in preparation for the implant, and you can gain more room that way. So it gives us a more unique position in what we do.
I bet you it does.
So what are you guys looking for at this meeting? Are you going to go to classes? Are you looking for a mill? Or are you just kind of coming here to say hello? Obviously, everybody knows you. I know it's a very social what we do. So
it is a very social, small community. It's very tight knit, and we love the camaraderie.
Yeah.
No, we came by to see you guys first.
We appreciate that.
But no, some courses just to say hi. We obviously know a couple of people that are lecturing, and not in the market for anything particular, but just to see what's new.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
What's next for Young?
What's next? I think digital dentures is
that's cool.
A big.
Yep. Are you going to go to the
category.
Colzer course this afternoon, or we talked to Jeremy about him? He's lecturing from 12 to 4 for Colzer, I believe, and I'm kind of looking into that as well. It sounds pretty interesting. So
cool. Looking forward to it. Well, we appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thank
you
for
sitting down with us.
Thanks for everything that you've done for us, your encouragement, your help.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Yeah.
All right.
Love
Great
you guys.
to meet you. Nice to meet you,
Yes,
sir.
it's nice to meet
Thank
you
you.
as well.
Yeah, thanks.
Have a good meeting.
Great, thanks. You too.
Thank you.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Hyatt, Hyatt. Benitez.
Got it?
No.
All right.
Here we are.
Take out your badge so he can see
Oh, you're
it.
not seeing my badge
Okay.
Why not?
because I put the wrong
You put the wrong company?
country. No.
Oh, country?
I'm from Afghanistan.
Oh, that's funny.
That's hilarious.
That's what she gets for doing it at midnight.
Yeah, the same.
I'm a dental technician. When do you expect
You forgot
me
the
to do
drop-down list, the very first one on top, probably.
I probably picked the first one because it's late just to get out of the program.
So here we are again at LMT Lab Day East. We are joined by Jane Hyatt and Kristen
Benitez.
And you guys are with K&B Orthodontics.
Yes.
Which is out of Norwalk, Afghanistan.
That's exactly what you didn't want him to say, and he goes and bolts it out. So you guys are mother and daughter, correct?
Yes,
awesome.
correct.
And this is in Connecticut, right?
Yes.
So what brings you guys here?
What brings us? Oh, just looking at the new technology.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You guys come here every year?
No, this is actually our first year here at this show. 2017 or 2018, we went to our first one in Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
I love the Chicago show.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. And that's where we purchased our first 3D printer.
Ooh.
Which is?
An Asiga Max.
Nice.
What are you printing?
Go ahead, my digital person.
I print out all the horseshoe models for aligners or Essex retainers and print out full palette models for any Hawleys, expanders, any orthodontic appliance that our doctors order for their patients.
Yeah.
So I love that. So it's mother and daughter. So she sets up the files, gets all of the digital set, brings them in, makes the models, and then you're doing the ortho appliances?
Yes. What has basically happened is when, everything went from analog to digital, all my doctors had scanners except for one, and I was still getting work, but I was losing all my phase 1 work, which includes palatal expanders or anything that was soldered, because they'd take one scan and send it off to a lab that can produce it off the one scan, fit the bands, and call it a day. So I lost all my solder work. So, we made a choice. My daughter didn't have a job, and she walked into one of my offices one day, and they said, well, if you had a 3D printer, we'd send you more work. So a friend of ours, Lydia Sullivan, who is a Crown and Bridge porcelain person at a lab that local, said, oh, you should have your daughter go to look at it with you. And thank God she did, because to this day, I still don't know how to use a 3D printer.
I think that's
and we have
great,
two
though.
of them. And we have two of them.
Yeah, so she does all of that. She does what she loves. You do what you love, and it's a nice mix.
Yep, and it took a lot of research on my end. I actually was the one who did all the research. Every single night I'd be on the iPad looking at different printers, looked at what they did, just trying to figure out where we could fit into this 3D printing. And the Asiga Max was a fantastic choice for us. It was an open source printer. Yep. It's been fantastic. And then we also needed the support for the software, because that's a whole nother animal. But digital has made our business a lot bigger. We now have 3 of us that are full time, and we also have a delivery person, whereas back when it was slow, I did everything. Now I've been pushed down to a wire bender. That's basically all I do.
Is that your job title now?
That's my job title. It's amazing because, you're so used to the delivery guy coming back with bags of loads of stuff.
Yep.
And now we're sharing space with the Crown and Bridge Lab that we just moved into this week. And he goes, Jane, I never see anything come in this lab. He goes, but I see bags go out. He goes, what is the digital workflow? I said 98%.
Yeah.
You guys are 98%
digital.
That's awesome.
From intraoral scanners.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Our doctors all have intraoral, because we're ortho, and ortho's that way. It's the way to be. You're dealing with kids who can't take impressions. This way they scan the mouth. Yeah. It's fantastic for the doctors. There has been a big shift in my workload fitting bands. I never had a band in my lab in my life. Now I've got bands. I'm buried in bands all day long with different sizes, different, slots, and it's crazy. Attachments. So, you had to learn how to fit bands. You have to go in and meet with the doctors and say they want their bands this way. First it was this band's too big, this one's small. So you have to work with how to digitally ditch band, on the 3D models, and Kristen's great for that. And then, you have to have a real close relationship with doctors who are willing to work with you to get that 3D transition over.
They kind of like dial it down to the parameters that they want.
Yes.
It takes a little bit of time.
You have to listen.
Yeah.
And have patience. And that was very difficult on my end. And to let go. Oh, my God, for me to let go and say that. And that was how I had to let go. I said, I am not doing the digital. When we went to the training and stuff, I said, you know what? Just keep me at the bench doing what I want to do. My daughter's in charge of all the workflow that comes in, getting all the prescriptions printed, and then she puts them on the bins, and then she processes the 3D models, gets them ready in the bins, and then we set them up by the days. So it's definitely a workflow that we have working for us.
So to you, it's either a digital model or a traditional model you're working on. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Right. To a point. There's some challenges with digital.
Yeah.
Because of the material?
Yeah, with you have the separator issue. We're not supposed to use separator. It's a patented process.
We've heard about that crazy
and
stuff.
That's a whole, and now we're trying to what we're trying to do as orthodontic labs, and nobody seems to be paying attention or listening to, is please come out with a resin number one that you can solder on, so we don't have to buy a laser welder, which today I was looking at a laser welder at another $5,000. That's another thing. It's the prices of things is kind of difficult.
It's not a cheap industry.
No, not anymore. Before, it's so funny. When I started out, I remember my father 23 years ago. I was a single mother, 2 kids, didn't know how I was going to raise them. I had a baby. And my father set up a lab in my basement of my parents' house. And he did it on stuff that he, bartered this for this machine or did this. Now it's like, forget it. It's like you're $40,000 just to start a lab. And there's licensing fees with these different people, and you have to be able to accept scans from this company. And it's crazy. But if you're willing to let go, and it's hard in this field with technicians, I'm sure you hear it all the time. Well, I burnt the midnight oil because I wanted to work because I have to see it from start to finish.
Yes.
You really have to let go and designate, okay, you're in charge of the digital. Okay, you're in charge of, and have patience. And that is something I don't have, but I did my best.
Looks like Kristen does, though.
I don't know. Ask Kristen. She got mad. She got mad at me the other day. So
yeah,
it depends on the day and what's been going on, because there are days where I have a short fume, but you have to be patient and you have to work together and depend on your fellow employees. And as a team, we all work really great together. Yeah. We did bring on a new technician in the last couple months, and she's been great. She's been a great addition, and it's like a family to us. It's been in the family my whole life. This is what I grew up knowing, and so it sort of makes sense I'm doing it now. And that's a big, important factor when we're going to hire new people, and she's transitioned perfectly with us, and the workflow is amazing. We definitely have it down pat now, in my opinion.
Yeah, you're the 4th people that we've talked to today that's second generation. I'm second generation.
Aren't you 3rd? Didn't your father start?
No.
No, I'm the second.
He just built it for you.
He just got it ready for me. I've had dental in my family, though. My aunt was a hygienist. My grandmother was a hygienist. I have cousins that are technicians, so it was a natural flow to go in the dental field. I have a mouth on me. I swear a lot on the bench. I mean, the other day we got new vacuum units, and of course I didn't put the netting up on it yet. And
you lost one down to it.
I said, "Oh shit!" And then my technician started to laugh at me. My daughter got upset with me. She's like, "Now I got to fix it because my daughter's the fixer now, got the screwdriver. I can't work with any of the new stuff. It's like I just don't have the thing to fix it anymore." She's down there getting all the bags out and
I
everything.
got this, Mom.
Yeah, it's like it's like, Mom, you just wasted time out of my day to fix your thing.
You're losing productivity.
Well, yeah.
That's it. That's the poor thing.
We have a lot of scans that come in, it's on me to get those done and printed out, and it takes time to send them to the printer, take them off the printer, cure them. So every minute is precious to me during the day. And the day gets by very fast.
That's what I love about what we do is the days are so fast.
It's production based.
Some are crazy, but they're so fast.
Yeah.
Never a day goes by that's dull.
No, not at all.
When you chose the Asiga printer, why? Why did you go with that one?
It was an open source printer, which means that I could, if I wanted to try any other resins with any other companies, I could. At the time, we're an ortho, and Great Lakes is a fantastic company, and Great Lakes had a printer, and, but the printer that they chose with their because they were the only ones that offered the software with the printer and the whole nine.
Software.
Yeah, and, I wanted to go with it. The printer was so much, at the time that they had, wasn't worth it. They have a great one out now, after the fact that you could use, and I use Great Lakes all the time for a lot of my products. We have 2 vacuum formers for them that we absolutely love. We use their material for all of our vacuum form material. Night guards we make. I've been to classes up at Great Lakes. They're fantastic. But Whitmix had, at the time, a printer that we can get into at a price that I felt I could handle, and I could use different materials. We looked at the Form Labs, and I wasn't not too keen on it. Some things I didn't like about it. It was the time to print it was longer. I had spoken to I'd reached out to a lot of other labs. There's a big lab that I called out of Massachusetts, and he's very 3D savvy, and he was like, look, think about what the costs are to fix that printer when it breaks down. That's the number one thing. And I said, and just went over a few things, and the Asiga was in the training, and we got training, and I was the first ortho lab at Whitmix to buy a printer, and we were just very happy with our the service that we had gotten from them. And also, I used to do my phone calls in the morning when I was walking my dogs. It was the only time at 6 o'clock in the morning, Connecticut time. And Sherry Piper from Whitmix picked up the phone. She lives in Chicago. 5 o'clock in the morning, she answered the phone.
Wow.
And got right back. And I felt, wow.
Customer service.
Yeah.
It means a lot. It means a lot. Yeah,
so,
Whitmix is good.
Yeah,
and we like the printer.
Yeah, we've been very, very fortunate. We're very happy. You know, we have minor hiccups here and there, but for the most part, we know how to get ourselves out of it and just continue on with our day. The accuracy with the models is fantastic. I like how they finish off. They look great. They're a great presentation back to the doctors. The doctors have been very happy with them. And just all together, I think we did make the best decision with going with the Asiga Max, and that's why we bought a second one 6 months later.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was going to ask that, so you've got 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
You need to, with a 98% digital workflow, you always need the backup. We had one down last week that we had a issue with, just the build tray had a divot in it, and, so we needed to wait for another build tray. And so it's great to have, when you have doctors who call you and say, hey, I got a kid going back to college tomorrow, we need an Essex retainer by 12 o'clock. You have to be able to produce that Essex retainer that quick.
Sure.
So
I bet your ortho is a very demanding, time-sensitive.
Yeah.
In our geographic, being in Fairfield County, Connecticut, right outside of New York City, they are, now.
Yeah,
and for 23 years, we've had to be there now. So
and this gives us the opportunity to be there even more and be able to deliver quality service, at their fingertips.
Yep.
So
with the printer, have you been able to shorten your turnaround times?
it depends on
the appliance.
Retainers, there's the whole thing where you can't just take a stone model, put some separator on it. Okay, we'll get it to you a half hour later, that portion of it. But the nice part about it is we don't have to go physically to an office, pick up that stone model. And the doctor also, like, say a kid calls up the doctor's office, hey, I lost my retainer, and the kid wore the retainer up to that day. The doctor will call you up and say, hey, print out another one. Can I have it back in 2 days?
Yep.
Yeah. So we don't have to run all the way to that office, pick it up, and then bring it back. We've expanded our little area where we do work. We used to be just lower Fairfield County. We do like maybe 3 different towns. Now we go from New York, the line in New York, all the way up to Wallingford, which is 45 minutes away.
Wow.
So,
and we all do it. It's all us. We don't have a messenger service. When you get us, you see us. When you call us, you see us. And that's something that Mom and I really pride ourselves in, the quality of service, and we're very hands-on.
Yes.
And we want to know what's going on, whether it's good or bad, and please tell us, and we will do our best to fix any issue. So
you're going to be there forever, right?
Oh, yeah.
Not me.
Yeah. When I first started working for my dad, I went kicking and screaming, but it was probably one of the things that I'm most grateful for. So, yeah, once you're in it and you fall in love with it, you're done.
I mean,
and you can tell you love it.
Oh, yeah. Growing up, I'd be down in the lab when Mom was down in the lab mixing, a monomer and polymer. When she's like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I want to see what's going on here. How do you get this to what you get? And now I know. And I went to school for chemistry, so it's chemistry technically.
Oh, absolutely.
So and even down to the 3D printers, so that's still chemistry.
Yeah.
So it sort of makes sense. And I wanted to be an orthodontist growing up, and I had gone originally for pre-dental, and then they were like, you have to take biology, and I said, that's not happening. No. So Mom was like, I didn't want to pay for dental school anyway, so it just makes sense now.
It's better in the industry.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
And now with the tooth movement software, I work with orthodontists to make people's teeth better. And I love that part of it. I love working with the orthodontist. I love learning new things from them. And it's my way of being an orthodontist with the orthodontist without having to pay for it.
Yeah.
So
you guys are doing clear aligners?
She'll explain that to you more. I have nothing to do with any Essex retainers or aligners with anything. She does. That's her portion, so you'd have to talk to her about that.
So, yeah, what we're doing, per se, is that we're doing relapse cases. So you've already gone through your full orthodontic treatment, and you didn't wear your retainer, you lost your retainer, you didn't go back to the orthodontist. So we're doing minor tooth movements. And I actually prefer doing that because I'm not an orthodontist. I don't have that proper training to make sure that your bite's correct or, all of the things that need to be taken into consideration to fix malocclusion.
Sure.
I like working with the orthodontist, so I do minor, a central is out of place, like let's tuck it back in. Like I do that. I do probably, the most I've done is 15 aligners, and that's where I'll stop. That's where I feel most comfortable.
I bet you there's a big market for it, though.
Oh, yeah. Orthodontists now are, big thing. They want to do it all themselves. They don't want to do Invisalign. It is. It's a bigger market, and especially, people don't want to have to wear their traditional braces at 26 years old and older. Yeah. So there is a market.
We decided when purchasing our 3D systems also to go with a portable laptop. We have an Alienware, and that provides her the opportunity to sometimes go into the offices and actually physically work on some cases with some doctors.
Like chairside with the patient?
Not with the patient,
but with the doctor. And what does allow us is that we're able to, with 3Shape, it creates a video of the movement that you've done. And I know that some doctors will take that video and show it to the patient.
Oh, sure.
And so the patient gets to see, this is your end product. This is what, and
it's the best way to sell that stuff.
Yeah, so it's great.
We will not do an aligner case unless it's checked off by the doctor.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. We definitely, you can't just say, okay, I know what I'm doing. We need the feedback the doctor has to say, or if the doctor can go in and say, look, can you bring the computer in? I want to make a few adjustments myself and do it that way. And you learn from the doctors. These new doctors who are coming out of school now, they embrace this aligner thing. They know the attachments, they know the movements, and it's great to have a couple that actually one's right next door in a building to us, and has been working with Kristen going over it. So that helps,
Yeah. Now you mentioned that you partnered up with the Crown and Bridge Lab, and you
rent space. I started off in Crown and Bridge when I was newly separated from my husband, and I thought I wanted to be a Crown and Bridge tech. And actually one day I was sitting there working, and an orthodontist came in and said to me, saw me working and said, can you make my study models at a certain size? To go up to his office and make study models, and he wanted to send me to school to do ortho, to be an in-house technician. I said, I don't want to be anybody's in-house technician. I said, I'll make your retainers for you. And so he did. I went to school to Great Lakes and did it 27 years old. And I thought I knew everything. Oh, my God. And I had a dental lab. No. I told my ex-husband, I said, you know what?
Thank you.
I'm going to better my... No, I told him in divorce court. I said, hey, look, I said, you want to better your life, you think you're leaving me? I said, and this is my story, people. It is what it is. I said, I'm going to start a dental lab and name it after your kids. And 6 months later, I did it with this doctor.
I was going to ask about the K&B. I was thinking it was Kristen.
I'm Kristen, and my brother Billy is the B.
Wow.
And the orthodontist told me, and the only reason why he walked into that Crown and Bridge lab is because he just had a daughter, and he used to make wax-up charms for his wife's bracelet, that he had a charm bracelet. Yep. And he was investing it in gold at the Crown and Bridge Lab, and that's how he saw me working. And he's like, "Yay!" He goes, "I'll make it so you never have to depend on a man ever again." And
you're like, "I'm in."
It was a lot of work.
Look at fast forward 20.
It was a lot. It was a lot of work. It gave me freedom to have the lab in the house. I raised my kids. They came off the bus. It was great. It was fantastic. My mother did my pickups and deliveries, my financials. We had a good little gig going. And then last year, now I'm 51 years old, and we went digital, and I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe I revved it up again.
That's great.
And now it sounds like you're growing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great.
It's great. It's great to have somebody who's had the college background into this, with chemistry and just the college classes and the knowledge. I mean, she gets me through so much just with writing and reports, and, I don't have that. I don't have the ability to do all that, and to have that person working with you to grow it that way, it's very important. But we put a lot of hours in this year.
Yep. Summer was our busiest time.
Good
we
to
were
hear.
working like 12-hour days, but we got it all done. Production was great. Money was coming in great. So
good for you guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Almost like it
and
that
now
way.
the dentists are like, "You're the K."
Yeah. Everyone, people that she's had
I
for
bet,
years.
yeah.
They're like 22 years.
Totally.
They're like, "Are you the K and KB?" I said, "Really? You're just figuring this out now?"
Yep.
I said, "Yes, I am."
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
It's great to meet you guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
And thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.
Appreciate
So why are
it.
you guys at Lab Day East? Let me ask you. Because ortho.
There's nothing. There's the only situation for ortho. They started a program, to members for the Association of Orthodontic Lab Professionals.
Yeah.
And they have a show in Texas, which I'd love to go to, and we eventually will try to get down there. There's nothing for ortho out there at all. It's sad. We have no training, nothing. We have no support.
Yeah. We were at that show last year.
Yeah.
the Dental Laboratory Association of Texas. They combined the two.
Yeah.
Wonderful show. You should make it.
I think we're going to try.
But to answer your question, we were here to learn about digital dentures.
Yep.
That's what's part of what I'm doing here as well, other than the podcast. We interviewed somebody today, Jeremy. From Colzer that was talking about digital dentures because I'd like to get into it.
Is that what you guys are going to get into?
I think so. There's
probably be easy for you to
get into. Yeah, it really,
to
be honest with you, I looked at it and I'm like, well, it's not, the software is not difficult. Mm-hmm. Like, it's pretty similar to what I do.
You already have the 3Shape,
right?
And we're in with the Crown and Bridge Lab.
Yeah, so we sort of have it, but there's no one that does it in our area. So the market is huge for it, so why not take advantage? So that's why we're here and, exploring it, see if we like it, if we want to dabble in it. So that's really why we came.
When we partnered with the Crown and Bridge Lab, one of the things we didn't purchase because our doctors had scanners was a scanner. Mm-hmm. And in dentures, you need scanners. So he has a scanner, and we have the printers. He didn't want to purchase the printers. He has a milling machine. So kind of worked, hand in hand to kind of bring the two together and see where we can go with it.
That's awesome.
Well, next year we'll talk to you guys. I guarantee you're going to be printing dentures because we'll be here next year.
Yep.
All right.
I'm not printing dentures.
You're not. Yeah.
I'm a wire bender.
That would be me.
Do you even let her touch the computers? Or
no.
No, I don't like when she touches the computer.
Yeah, I get it.
It's all set up for me, and then she goes and touches it, and it's like, what did you just do? Like, you pressed all these buttons. It's not even configured properly anymore. Like, just stay away. So she has her own
mess with your tools, Mom.
No, she has her own computer, so that's where she's supposed to stay.
Well, it seems like you guys have a great working relationship, which is wonderful. I used to love working with my dad. It's like, you can't get that back. So congratulations.
Awesome. Thanks for sitting down. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Today's episode is brought to you by Kettenbach. Let's talk about impressions and impression materials. Can we agree that not all incoming records your lab receives are equal in quality or have captured the details you feel necessary to move forward confidently with a fixed, removable, or implant case? NADL studies show that small, medium, and large labs all face the same awful situation of producing remakes at no charge over and over again when it might not be the lab's fault. Kettenbach and their team of manufacturer reps are here to help your lab by offering support and solutions, not chairside milling units, that will improve the incoming clinical results and consistency you and your clients are looking to achieve. Their materials are manufactured in Germany using patented technology, and in America they only sell direct for less costs. Visit www.kettenbach-dental.us to learn more about Panacell, Identium, and Celginate impression materials, Futar bite registration, Thistleist temp material and core buildup, Mucopin soft reline, and airway metrics. Kettenbach also offers materials used every day in the dental lab, in particular the Panacell Lab Putty Hard and Lab Putty Soft. These materials can be cleanly and easily dispensed in a 1-to-1 putty matrix. There are no messy accelerator gels with this system. The Panacell Lab Putty is sold in 2 5-kilogram buckets of base and catalyst and is definitely the dimensional, stable lab putty material you have been looking for. Try any of the materials risk-free today by calling Kettenbach direct at 877-532-2123. Mention the code DentalLabPodcast25 and you will receive an additional 25% off your order. Once again, call Kettenbach direct at 877-532-2123 to make the connection with a partner who can help your lab and your clients save money and increase quality coming in and going out. Thanks for your support, Kettenbach.
So a big thanks to Michael and Joe Young and also Jane Hyatt and Kristen Benitez. What I really like about both those lab owners is that, number one, mother and daughter, father and son, and number two, they both started in ortho. I think that's a pretty neat way to parlay into the lab business. And congrats to both you guys. We appreciate you all taking the time out of a busy convention to talk to us. We know it's a little crazy there. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's Elvis going to hunt them down, but thank you for your time. We're always looking to reach different aspects of our industry and always enjoy talking with ortho technicians. And of course, I always love, and I always have, second-generation stories. Thanks again to LMT also for providing such a great event and a space for Elvis and I. You have until January 1st, we're going to say it again, not that we've said it about 100 times and voted 100 times, but to vote for your favorite dental podcast at dentalpodcast.org. I'd like to give a shout out to Triad Dental. Martha, thank you. I saw it on your Facebook post and we appreciate it. Every computer you have, see, or walk by, we would appreciate you voting.
So what we want to do as we wrap up 2019 is we want to feature some exciting things you might be looking into or forward to in this new year and decade. Every year we tell ourselves this will be the year to do something. So send us an email at info@voicesfromthebench.com and tell us all about it. We want to feature in January what some labs are looking to accomplish as we go into this new decade. And if it's something super cool, we might even contact you about coming on the podcast to talk about it more.
All right.
And if no one sends us any emails, we're just going to assume that every lab is just going to keep on doing what they've been doing with no desire to grow.
Oh, we know that's not possible. Change is good or you die. So that's my frank way of putting it. You got to change. And as much fun as it is to change, we know you're changing. So hit us up. Let us know.
Keep up with the times, people.
Yep.
Alrighty, that's all we got. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
I'm sure everybody's all nice and stressed out for the holidays and the busy season. So we hope you're all doing great and have a great week.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Okay, I got a hair appointment, so let's do this.